Hello everybody and welcome to Wesley's Plant World with me, Wesley Peterson, and today I am out in the area of my garden called the Botanical Garden here at Crystal Cottage, and today I am going to be working on the border behind me here. Now, just recently I did a video where I created a bamboo forest, a little mini bamboo forest in the area of my garden called Mariana's Corner, and you can go back and see that video because it worked out fantastically and the bamboo are doing so well and I really enjoy that. And behind me, this is where all the bamboo were in this border, and they were up to 3 meters tall. And it was absolutely beautiful, but now I want to rearrange this and make something else. So my idea is that between these two lovely pine trees that I planted a couple of years ago, I am going to be making a pathway out to the back of the botanical garden over here, connecting these two borders here and making a new border on the side behind me here. So the first thing I need to do is get this bench out of the way. So let's just do that straight away, because then you can see more of what's going on. So that is my bench out of the way, and now you can see the border I'm going to be working on. And one of the fantastic things about this is I have all of these rocks already at the front, and when I create new borders here in the botanical garden area, they need to have a border of rocks around them because that's the theme I have going on, and I absolutely love rocks, boulders and stones, so this is perfect. So I can rearrange those so that I have one here, a big one that I can put to the front and carry on that border there, connecting those together, open up the pathway and just put these rocks to the side here, making a little curve round to the tree at the back there, and that will be one big border here. And of course I'm going to want to have a lot of evergreen plants towards the back part, and then lots of different other plants in the front. And then I'll have a slightly smaller border here, and that also needs to have things that are evergreen, because all of these plants in this border can be seen from our cottage all winter long, which is a very long period without any leaves on any of the deciduous plants and the perennials. So I need a lot of evergreen plants to keep the green winter interest all year in this area. It's very important. But opening up this pathway here is going to be fantastic. And if I go around the back, just to give you a little bit of perspective, our pathway goes from the back here, and what I want to do is open up towards the middle of these two pine trees. That will accentuate these pine trees. One is growing much faster than the other, but now they're more exposed. Then this one on the right will catch up, and this one on the left will be allowed to grow out a little bit taller, and then I will top it. I want to keep them not growing really tall. I want to keep them as lovely bushing pine trees, and they're just going to outline the pathway so fantastically and be a focal point. And then what you see as you come through the pathway directly is a beautiful big boulder in a beautiful arrangement of plants in the middle of the botanical garden. And then there's a little pathway towards the back here that I want to widen a little bit so it's easier to get round here. And this is just going to be fantastic. So moving all the bamboos wasn't a problem at all, and actually I have saved a little piece that will bush out there at the front again, so that I'll have the evergreen from our cottage, and then I will have other evergreen plants. So basically I just need to get on with this so I can move the plants that are in the pathway here out of the way to be able to replant them later on. But before I do all that, I'll just take you for a quick walk around and about so you can see what I'm going to be working with, and then you'll understand the transformation that's happened in the end. So as you can see on the left, that is where the bamboo forest area starts in Mariana's Corner. And then I have this pathway which will be closed off. So we can go through this for now. So you can see the back area. So where you see this tree here, that will connect to the edge of the pathway next to this pine tree here. And this will all become one big border down here. So there's the pathway around the back that's going to be widened a little bit, and you can see our Crystal Cottage there and why I really want lots of evergreen plants in this area. 3 windows to see through to the garden. You can see here, there's our annex there in the background. Down here you can see the one side that will become a border. You can see all the holes where I took out all of the bamboo, the jumbo bamboo, to make my bamboo forest. And the new pathway, as I said, will be here, just between these two pine trees. And look, there is the beautiful boulder and the border that you will walk out and see at the end of the pathway. And then these two pine trees here will just carry on growing up beautifully either side of the new pathway here. So this is what I'm going to create today. So I really hope you enjoyed seeing how everything looks now, and well, it's going to transform so much, so look forward to that at the end of this video. Let me get on with this now. Okay, well, the first thing I need to start with then is closing this gap so that I can connect my borders. And because, as I said, I have already these lovely big boulders here, this is not going to take me more than a few seconds to do. And that is fantastic. There we go, that's already connected. Branches that don't look nice there. That's connected. And what do I have? This is actually quite big, this boulder, so I can just get this and move it along a little bit, like that. There we go, my new border is connected. That's how quick and easy this is going to happen today. Well, the first part of it anyway. So there I just need to put a boulder to connect that together. And well, let's see what I have behind here. I have one here that would actually probably fit perfectly. So I'll take that one first and put it here. There we go. There's one. It has a slug on it, but that's life. I can put this rock back behind to keep it in place. There, now look at that. I already have created the beginnings of my new border. So now comes the hard part, because I need to remove the hydrangea I have growing here, the geraniums I have growing here. This holly bush is not in the ground because I moved it from the other border the other day. So I just need to lift that and put it in the back pathway out of the way for now until I replant it. So that was also another quick and easy job. So basically now I just have a couple of plants here in the middle that I need to remove. And then I'll be ready to make my new pathway. And it's so good because I have all this soil that I can throw into the areas where I'm going to need more soil. So where is my spade? So I've got my spade and a big black pot because I need to put the plants in that pot just while I'm figuring out where I want to replant them. So this hydrangea hasn't been in the ground very long, so that will come up very easily. No problem with that. And while I have it, I might as well bring it so you can have a closer look at it. Look at these beautiful flowers on this plant. Aren't they just amazing? What a beautiful colour. I can't wait for this plant to grow up thick and strong, just like my other hydrangeas that I have going on. So I need to put this back in the border in a perfect location where I can see them flowering out. Into the pot with this to start with. There we go. And then I have geraniums, and I also have some irises that I need to take up. So geranium, easy peasy, up it comes, because this was also all of these are transplantations that I did not long ago. So they are coming up very easily, and this is a beautiful geranium. So look at the flowers on this plant, and lovely foliage. So I really, really like these plants, and I'm actually thinking I might want to put them in my inner garden, because there I've also just made a video where I show you how I vamp up and give some elevation with lots of new plants in my border that I made a year ago. And I did a video where I showed you how I made a no-dig border. Go back and see that video, and then you can see the video of how that border is looking now this year. see how far I need to go, because of course I want to have some border around the tree so they're not right on the edge. I have one more iris I need to take out here, and then that last one actually can stay there. One more needs to come out, just one more. There we go, that one's out as well. Right, so I can put all these in my bucket for now as well. So that actually wasn't many plants I had to move out of the way to make my pathway. So this is, as I said, going to be quick and easy. So now let's just move this a little bit to the side, because now I need to move these rocks. There's one big one. This obviously needs to be, well, it just needed to be moved to the side like that. And then this big one needs to be moved completely for now. Just like that. Oh, it's pretty heavy. Just like that. Now I've opened up where my pathway is going to be here, and it's basically about excavating now the soil to the sides, and the pathway will appear all by itself. This time I don't want to make the pathway too thin. I want it to be easy to see that it is a pathway. Now this soil is full of roots from different plants. So there we go. That is my pathway, quickly and easily excavated, and a perfect flow into the back of the botanical garden there now. So now all I have to do is line it with my rocks, and then I'm ready to create my new borders. I love this. Now the one big boulder that I have going on here is very, very heavy, but I would really love to be able to put it at the back over there by the tree to mark out that that is a whole new border there. But it means a lot of rolling and moving, so I'm not going to. I'm going to put it here at the front. It is really extremely heavy, so I'm just going to roll it and use it as my side marker instead, or actually move this little one again and put it in place here, right here. Oh, so if I, and it mustn't be, so if I do it like that, that will be a perfect corner marker, and then I can put rocks behind to hold it up for now. There we go. I will find another rock to go there eventually. So that rock has marked out the beginning of this pathway now. Now I have lots of rocks in the back over here that I need to get out and use along the edge of my new pathway. This is the old one. And I of course need these here. So I'm going to need some that are a little bit taller at the front. So I want to put some a little bit shorter in the middle for now. That's okay. It's going very well. Oi, is there a flash of rain here? I don't know. So that is my pathway constructed. Absolutely perfect, going out to the back there. I've lined it now completely with stones. And then I had another idea, because I had a path, a small pathway going behind this border here, but I've decided to take that pathway away as well, because we never ever use it. And I never have to go in there to do any maintenance or anything like that really, so it was not necessary. So this pathway will be the only one going around the back of this, what will be now a really huge border. So I've blocked off the end there with stones and that side, and now I'm filling up with a little bit of soil because I need to move around the plants a little bit to make it look like it's always been one. So I have my boxwoods growing in the middle there that I need to transplant out to the edge over there, so that carries on my boxwood hedge there, and that will be absolutely perfect. And any that I have spare, I can just move somewhere else. So I'll do that first. The geraniums that are growing up in the middle, I think I'll take up as well and put somewhere else or around the edges afterwards. I have a spruce tree that I took up from over in Mariana's corner that I'll put in at the back there just to fill out that a little bit more as well. And then I have some rhododendron bushes that I need to plant somewhere. So I'm going to plant them along the back edge of the pathway here so they can mound out and grow out lovely behind other things so they're not in too much direct sunlight. And I think this is going to work out very well. So first of all, I just want to take you around the corner and show you me transplanting the boxwoods. So this shouldn't be that difficult. These boxwoods are usually quite easy to get up. And in front I have some geranium that I'm actually going to have to move then to get them out. We'll take those out first because I want to reuse those and repurpose all the geranium bits, that's for sure. So I'll be using that bush and this bush, and we'll take out this geranium that's growing here as well first. Here, one, another piece. Geranium, they're so hardy. You can just pull them up. Oh, and they smell so good, this variety. Just look at these beautiful geraniums and their lovely colour, and oh, they smell like a dream. So I'll put these in some water while I'm finishing the rest of the border. Now for the first boxwood I want to get up. Let's have a look how easily I can get in here and get to the roots. I might as well take the one on the edge first that's more exposed. So there we go, here it is. Out it comes. And make a hole here on my edge where my pathway was, so it shouldn't be that difficult to dig or anything like that. And it's not. There we go. There's my hole. Make it a little bit bigger. There. Quick transplant, and away it goes. So there, soil back around, and that was that one done. It will hardly notice that it was touched. So the next one, out, and which is the nicest side, this side, out and in. There we go. Now I've carried on my boxwood hedge quickly, simply and easily. So there we go, my two borders here have been connected as quick as day. I couldn't be more happy with this, and these will just carry on growing with no problem. I have two more boxwoods that I could plant out, but not here because I have no more space, so I can put them on the back border over there. Why not? They come up so easily, even though they've been in the ground here for quite a few years. They just pop up. So now that I've extended my border out along this way, I feel like I need to carry on the same theme as I already have with my evergreen bushes here, as you can see, in a line. So I have my beautiful juniper bushes and my laurel bushes. So they go one after the other, apart from the spruce tree in the middle there, which is absolutely fine. So now the next one I need to plant is another laurel bush, and luckily I had one left after my last project. So I am going to plant that right here, and it will carry on that theme. And these are going to bush out very, very big and give another coverage with my Thuja occidentalis brabant behind up there looking fabulous and carrying on the wintergreen display for us outside of our windows all year round. So here it is, the next bush, and basically just get my soil around it that I've already placed in here and pat it down a bit. I will need to get some more soil later, but this is to get my plants in place first so I can really see how everything looks. So there we go, that has carried on the theme perfectly. So now I need another juniper bush right here, and I have one at the back that I removed from this border earlier, and I'm going to put it back in here. So here it is, and it's a very tall one, so it's absolutely perfect because it's a little bit lower ground here, but it will fit perfectly. So make my hole again and get this planted very quickly. And even though I don't show you on camera, I do actually, every time I plant a plant, go in and water them thoroughly before I carry on with the next part of the project when the camera's not on, just to get it done. So there we go. Don't want no grass with it. There. Soil around. So there we go. As you can see, I've carried on the theme all the way around the border now. And where I've stopped is absolutely perfect, because then I can plant in my holly bush in next to that and start a new theme on the side, so that when we see from that side of the garden, we can see a different display. And I have a lot of perennial plants that I'd like to plant in there just to switch it up a bit and to give some flowers. So I definitely want to plant in some hydrangea, and I have a lot of hydrangea arborescens Annabelle that I need to split, and I want to do that and put some in here. So behind this, I'm actually going to remove my bamboos that I've placed here at the front, and I will plant those behind that juniper, and that will bush out and give more height and green from the bamboos. And then next to the juniper, I'm going to plant in my holly bush that I have, so that can come out here and it's also evergreen. Yes, that will be fine. I'll do that now. So I'm just going to open this bag and put this soft soil around the bamboo to make sure that it can grow out new roots quick and easy. So that's the bamboos done. Now I'm wondering if I want to put my holly bush here next to that. So if I take my holly bush before I plant it and place it, just so I can see what it looks like, then I might be finished with my lineup of evergreen plants to look at from our cottage. Yes, I've decided this holly bush will be absolutely perfect here. So we'll put it to the side while I dig it a hole. Yes, that feels absolutely fine. So my border with the higher plants at the back are finished from this perspective. Later on, when I have a little bit more time, I will place out some more of the plants that I have down the bottom here along there, so it feels like the whole thing really is the same theme. But now I want to take you back around from the other perspective to see what we want to do from that side. So in this border, next to my new pathway, I've decided to plant out one of my boxwoods that I took out from the other border in the front of this border to carry on the evergreen theme at the front. So it will be next to my mountain pine next to me here. So in that goes, perfectly there, and can bush out nicely. And then I have my red dogwood that I actually do want to keep, but the deer come and eat it down as it's so young. So I need to keep it in the middle of the border to keep it protected. So I'm going to move that away from that edge and put it in here, because I have another plant to put out on the edge there. Those were cuttings, those red dogwoods. So I should be able to get them up quite quickly to place in this hole here. One here. Ooh, big roots. That one in. I think I put a few different balls in here. Yes. Another one. Put that in. They will figure it out better next year again. So I'm really not worried about how they look for now. that is not a problem. As long as they don't get munched down, they will most definitely grow up. They're hardy plants. And the tallest one at the back of the hole. So, there they are. And backfill. These red dogwoods I have spread around in different parts of my garden because they really are fabulous plant with their red stems during the winter time. So again, here they'll give that winter interest. So now for the plant that I wanted to put in its place, which is going to need a bit of a root ball, and I have a fern growing here that I can take out for a minute and then replant, because I definitely want that as well. So, but for now, I need to put in the bush that I want to be here. So this is the next plant, a beautiful Philadelphus. This, I've moved around so many times because I've just never known where I want it as a final resting place. But for now, it's going here. And hopefully it will be its last resting place too. Press it down, and then in it is. Oh, in its new spot. Just as a border filler, I will put my fern back in the middle here because it will probably grow out quite nice and thick and fill out this area in the shade with time. In that goes too. Backfill. So I'm done with these few plants at the front and it looks very nice, and that's going to fill out very quickly. In the back part here, I will be planting out a few more spruce and thuya with time, so I'm not worrying about the back part here at the moment. It's a very big area that needs to be filled out. So what I will do is plant the plants in that I want to actually grow around the front of it, and that is rhododendron. And I have these 3 rhododendron bushes. Well, the one can stay where it is because that'll grow out quite nice there. I'll put 2 here on the side, and they are plants that grow into lovely big balls, so they will fill out this area very nice with an evergreen touch as we walk around the pathway here and be absolutely perfect. So let me get them planted. So I have one example of these wonderful rhododendron here. Look at these leaves closer up, aren't they absolutely magnificent? They shine in the sun and so forth, but these will do well in a shady position and will do okay with some direct light as well. So they'll be perfect exactly where I want them, along that edge there at the back here. So I need to dig out a couple of holes, lay down, to get that one in, and the other one I can see hiding behind my bamboo forest where it won't be able to be seen, so I'm going to move it here. I don't want to be too close to the front because I know if it stays here, then it's going to fill out this area a lot. So I want to put it around about here. Well, as you can see, I have been working as hard as can be, trying to get these 2 borders back into shape after reshaping my pathway here that goes back here so perfectly. I really, really like it. And I've already got so many plants planted on the right hand border here, rhododendrons, and I've moved around my fern and my red dogwood and my Philadelphus, and I am going to now, in the back behind the rhododendrons and around into the back, I am going to collect some of my hydrangea arborescens Annabelle and plant that in there because it comes up and it can spread easily by itself, and it gets lovely big white flowers all over it, and it will be perfect to grow in behind here where I have a big expanse now. And I have a lot of these lovely geraniums down the bottom here that I am going to plot in around everything that's growing at the front and along the front of the border on this side. So I'll have this lovely green carpet growing around into everything very quickly. So that is going to be perfect to finish off that. On this side, I'm also going to get some of the same geranium and plant along the back edge here in front of these Canadian goldenrods that I've planted out here around my bamboo. So my bamboo, being evergreen with leaves, will have a flush of flowers every August, and the combination with this beautiful pinky red hydrangea that's growing down at the bottom here now will be perfect together, and these will bush out and get bigger and taller as well with time. And I have the same plants at the front on both sides. I've just planted a little bit longer around the corner here this beautiful geranium Rosanna Givat. So I have these lovely flowers, and they are like that until first frost. And then there are these iris that come up with their purple flowers as well. So all of that's wonderful and will bush out along the front here. I've seen, to keep the same theme as I have going along the rest of the border over here, that I need to go and halve my last fern, which is a lady fern, and place that in between the next two bushes. And then I will also take a bunch of my Jerusalem sage over here and plant that down here at the front. And then I'm also going to get some hosta and plant in between those, because I really would like to start putting my hostas out in more borders, and I have dared to do that. So I'm going to do that here as well. And if it doesn't work, well, I can always put them back in pots. But next year, I really want to see if my hostas can grow in my borders. So I'm going to get on with this once again right now, and I will take you around the corner so you can see me splitting my fern and putting it in its new position, as well as my Jerusalem sage, which is also evergreen and gets long stalks with beautiful yellow flowers on it. They will come out all along that edge there. This is coming on so well. I've just got the last bits to get done with the last energy I have for today. So I have my spade and my little hand saw here, and I need to get in behind my lovely, or in front of my lovely big fern here. This is Aetherium Felix Femina, and I've become a dab hand at splitting these plants. So I'm just going to basically do this without taking up the whole root ball. I'm going to try and go in and just take a little piece. Well, there's a piece at the front. I'm going to have to take that. I'm going to split straight away so I can just pull up the plant, I hope. So let's see if I can just get this out now without much problem. And it seems that I could. So look at this. Here it is, one beautiful piece. I didn't need more than that to be able to fit in the space I want to put it in, so I'll just rest it for a moment, because I don't want it to be too far forward. It needs to be a little bit back, because as you can see, the fronds splay over forward. So it's better to plant it a little bit behind, where it will have space to do that without being in the way too much. So that's my hole. Here's my plant, and here it goes into its new spot wonderfully, like that. Get it planted like this so it's supported up, and there we go. Et voila. This was so quick and easy. All its beautiful fronds. Let's have them going different ways, like that, and like that, and like that. And damp down just slightly around it. And there we go. It looks like this plant has always been here. A perfect addition. So now I can go out back here. Now that job is done. And I can start figuring out how I want to place out my Jerusalem sage, but I need to take up a couple of my geraniums here first that are in the way, because I want to use those in the other border. So I'll take those out first. Now I've already placed soil out here, so I just need to spread that out so it's level. And I can use that to replant in. I have a lovely bunch of this Jerusalem sage here that I want to keep here. and I want to add a little bit more over there. So I'm just taking bits from where I don't need them. And these are very forgiving plants. I've moved them around a couple of times now and they're still growing out as beautiful masses here in this border. Nice one here. Some of them have pretty big roots, and that's why I have to have this shovel to make sure I can get deep enough when I plant them. So I've already been to collect my hosta here, and I've already split them. And so you can see what they are. I have a couple of beautiful plants here. Look at these wonderful plants. Look at those leaves, aren't they gorgeous? And then look at the flowers. They're almost white, but they have a kind of purpley hue to them, but they're very beautiful leaves with this lovely variegation of green and yellow. So now I have 5 plants to put into the gaps. So the first one over here, and as I always say, you can move and replant hostas any time of the year. They are very forgiving. They will act like nothing has happened. That is my experience. They are just so reliable. As long as when you split them, you keep plenty of roots, well, then they will have nothing else to say to you. Except thank you. So, that was a couple. You can't see them because of the boxwoods, but we'll be able to see them later. Next one. Big, beautiful one. This one needs to go in here where I have a big gap. And then my final one. Good morning, everybody. Yes, it is now the next day. I worked on this border for such a long time yesterday, and in the end, I needed to take a break and wait till the next day so that all the plants had time to settle in a little bit more, and then I could show you the final grand reveal of my border as it is now. And I decided to start up here from my bedroom window that faces towards the west so that you can get a broad perspective over the whole new large border I have created. You can see the bench down there, mostly over to the right hand side. The middle part of the border is around just to the left of the bench, and you can see all of the trees and the bushes and so forth. And just to give you some perspective of where we are, this is the Botanical Garden here at Crystal Cottage, and you can see the rest of the area just in front of the border, so you can see what that looks like. And where the sun is shining and you can see the hammock is the area called Mariana's Corner, where I made a miniature bamboo forest, and I've done a whole video on that, so go back and see that. That's an amazing project that I just finished as well. So now let me get down into the garden so you can actually see the details of this border. So we'll start right here and go through into the Botanical Garden, and here you can see the end of this border with the bench here, and that is the rest of the view, and our cottage and all of the western windows that look down over this area, and why it's important that I have a lot of evergreen plants here. This is the border, and I extended it with the juniper trees, the laurels and boxwoods and many other things, so the border looks like it's always been like this. And then if we go down into the border, you can see that I have planted out this lovely Hosta Yellow River next to the Jerusalem sage, and I've repeated the process all the way down in the middle here, and I think that looks absolutely fantastic. and it ends here. And then again, the bushes behind and the ferns in the backdrop that will fill in and thicken out as well. And then down at the back of those, I have one, it's hard to see so I'll point, one there, and one here. That is 3 rhododendrons with beautiful pink flowers that are recuperating. I planted them last winter and, well, they obviously hadn't been used to being outside, so everything died back. But now, as you can see here, they're growing back and recuperating. Now look at that hosta yellow river there as well. Isn't it just gorgeous? That's going to be fantastic when it fills out here. And I hope the slugs don't eat them up. And then the Jerusalem sage, a beautiful evergreen plant. So the rest of the border from the back side here, I've planted in perennial plants behind all the evergreens that I have, so that we have a lot more colour and interest as we go round to the other side. So let's carry on around here through the Botanical Garden. So here's another perspective of my border with all these beautiful evergreen plants and a little bit of the geranium with its beautiful purple flowers growing out here to the left. I love the contrast between the blue and the yellow at the back there and the dark green. So beautiful. So we follow the rock border and we'll take the pathway around the back so that we come out and you can see the extension of my new pathway that I just created as well. So it goes around the back here and you can see the darker patches where the new part starts. And the pathway goes out and you can see the beautiful border in front with the boulder, and that is the focal point as you come out of the pathway straight ahead. So there we go, you can see that now. There's the beautiful boulder, and there is the pathway I've just created. So on the left I have the border right next to where I have the bamboo forest in Mariana's Corner. And the border on the left of the new pathway, I have planted out this lovely hydrangea. There are 2 different types of geranium, and there are many different types of bushes. So let's have a little look down here. If we get under the canopy, you can see all of the geranium that I've planted in between that will come out. And you can see the boxwood I planted there, this lovely miniature pine, the hydrangea, a big lump that I took from one of my other bushes. I planted yesterday and watered well in. I left all the flowers on and everything on purpose just to show you for the video. Otherwise I would have cut it down to half and taken off the flowers, which I'll do later anyway. But I wanted to show you, it hasn't wilted at all. I am so surprised with this. I managed to get the root ball up nearly completely intact with its root ball. So the plant has coped with this transplantation very, very well. I'm really, really surprised with that, and I'm very happy about it. Down here, lots of other plants going on, and you can see on the side at the front here I've planted out more of the geraniums, and then I have a line of 3 beautiful rhododendron. These will thicken out so that they end up touching each other. I'm not worried about the back expanse there at the moment. I want to just throw in debris and sticks, twigs, branches, discarded plant pieces, so forth, and build up the soil there. So that's a perfect patch for doing that. And I can also plant another spruce tree or try and get myself another hydrangea in there just to fill up right to the edge of the border, so that it will be a beautiful backdrop with all this hydrangea. So that was the first one you just saw. Then I planted one behind here, and this has hardly wilted anything at all either. Fantastic. Look at this, how I could transplant huge bushes with lots of leaves and flowers, and they've acted like they've hardly noticed. So that has given me this wow effect straight away in this border. So we're going to go back so you can see my pathway and the edge of the border, so you can really see how it's connected to the back of the botanical garden and give me this huge expanse to fill out like a little cottage garden border. Absolutely fantastic. So right on the other side, we'll turn back round so you can see the back of the pathway that I've just taken. These are all of the evergreens that are hiding at the back. Then I decided to plant in this beautiful Canadian goldenrod here. This has beautiful flowers that come out now in August, September time, so giving a late flowering. And I've planted that all the way around the piece of bamboo that I left, that's quite tall here, from the bamboo that was here originally. I wanted to keep that in the middle and put a flowering plant around the edge on purpose, so that it looks like the bamboo is flowering. Because look at the leaves on this plant. They have the kind of same structure as the bamboo. Look at that. So when that bush has thickened out more, the bamboo, and this plant grows out around it, it will look like it's part of the bamboo in some way. So that was my idea with planting that around there, and also to give some colour to the area as well. So on the ground again, I planted out the geranium around the edge. All the plants that were here originally, the iris and the other type of geranium, are still down here in place. There is some sedum hiding in the back there. These are the evergreen plants, bench on the other side. And then I have these hydrangea down here that have pink flowers. Now these are also going to grow up into big bushes, just like the white ones. So for now they're like this. I only just planted them this season, so this is what they're looking like. They're getting too heavy for themselves on their stalks with all these flowers, but I decided to leave them on for the sake of the video. But I will actually probably prune these off soon to give these plants a break until next season. But even them being transplanted, their leaves are puffed up and they're very happy because I've watered them well in. So there's the two plants, so I get a big thick bush straight away. So I hope they're going to grow up and fill out the area quite well next season. So that is right next to my new pathway here. That's the two borders. And this side you can see I have a different theme compared to the front side of this border. So I have a lot more perennial plants that die back, but then there's a lot more flowers and everything will fill out. And you can even see on my holly bush here that it is flowering. So look at that, a flower on the holly bush. And there are lots of flowers on the holly bush here, and even there at the back. So this is great because this means that I will get a lot of red berries on this lovely bush. I also have a red dogwood down here, a variegated variety. And then just to show you my Hosta Yellow River is flowering with these lovely purple flowers as well. Beautiful. So all of this is going to fill out beautifully. The border on the left, the pathway, the border on the right, and I am happy with the process of this change here. Here you can clearly see where the bamboo forest starts, and then where the botanical garden starts with my new border, not forgetting that now I have my two beautiful pine trees as trees that are flanking the pathway. So they will be topped when I get them to around 4 meters high to keep them as low trees. So the one on the left needs to catch up a couple of seasons and then it would have caught up already. So now I'm going to end my video relaxing here in front of my new pathway and my new borders. Oh, that feeling when you finish a project and you can just sit down and enjoy the fruits of your labor. There's no better satisfaction than that for me in my garden here. Now I can finally sit here and look over my beautiful border and see my beautiful rhododendrons and my hydrangea in front of me here and everything else, and the beautiful border behind me and my new pathway to my left side, flanked with all these lovely rocks that I've found around and about in my own garden in the forest area. I think I have moved hundreds of rocks in my garden now and created all of the wonderful borders you see around everywhere. And I just love every part of it. Now I am aching in my body, in my neck and my back and everything else, but I feel alive and I feel that I'm training my body and it's getting stronger every time I do things like this, and that is the good thing about it. You need to stay active to keep your body young and alive, right? So now I have my breakfast in front of me, a little porridge with some old-fashioned strawberry jam, English breakfast tea, and a glass of water, and I am just in total bliss. And I feel so relaxed and calm and thankful that everything worked out so well in the end and looks so beautiful. And I just love the fact that when I see the border like this, I know it's all going to fill in, I know it's all going to grow up and it's all going to merge together and it's going to look absolutely wonderful. And who knows what's going to happen in the future because I am always on the lookout for the next project, and things get moved and changed around quite a lot in my garden. But the border that I had before here had been the same for many, many years, and the one there. So it was time for a switch up, and I really, really like this. Another fantastic thing about this is every single plant that you've seen when I took you round for the closer look are plants that were already in my garden. I haven't bought a single new plant to plant into these borders. I've just rearranged what I already have. I have split a lot of plants that I already have. The more they mature, the more you can split them and spread them around into different areas of your garden. And it is just fantastic. The plants are just amazing beings that are always giving. So there's always a chance to do something new with them. And so many of them, they cope so well with being moved around, just like that hydrangea. I cannot believe that its leaves are puffed up and its flowers are standing up today after being ripped out of the ground in another area of my garden. It's just amazing and fantastic, because usually when you do things like this, you'd go and you'd prune back the plant to halfway or even down to the bottom, depending what type of plant it is, and you would take all the flowers off to make sure the plant can use its energy to grow out new fresh roots at the base and then flush out new growth the next season. But of course I wanted to show these plants as they are now, and I hoped they would stand up like this for the end of my video, and they have. And then I will go in and prune them back at some point so that I know next year they will be able to recuperate and come back up. So I will be pruning those down to halfway so they flush out new fresh growth. So my bench is back in place, and I love the perspective I have now over Mariana's corner and the bamboo forest and all the way down into West Side Garden and beyond, and then the Botanical Garden expanse on my left side here, and I have my cottage behind me and I can see my annex over there. So let me get on with my breakfast now, and I'd just like to say thank you very much, all of you, for sticking along to the end of this video. It's been a long process, much longer than the video shows, of course, and that's always the case. This is the next day now, but I spent at least 12 hours working on these borders all day yesterday. It was just crazy the amount of hours I spent out here, and I gave myself just a short period for lunch, and then I carried on, and now I'm here the next morning making the end of my video. So I hope that you've been inspired to get out and create something new in your gardens or on your balcony or even with your houseplants. It's just giving you that boost to get your green fingers out and start a little something new of your own. So all I have to say now is thank you very much once again for watching this video with me. Please remember to like, subscribe and hit the bell so you know when my next video will be coming up. And I will see you again very, very soon. Goodbye.